Alright you guys, today I just wanted to show you guys the Trollmaster, specifically the Aqua X. As you can see, I'll just go back into it. Here's the main dashboard. If I scroll over at the bottom here, there's my 110 settings for my pump. On the right, I have my solenoid schedules. Top right, there's graphing and data logging. You can also zoom in on one specific day if you want. And then you can also switch that over to months. So let me quickly go over all the settings real quick. On my pump, what I'm doing is I'm using my pump to recirculate the reservoir as well as feed, right? So for 10 minutes before every feed cycle, the pump is going to recirculate the reservoir. So the lights come on at 6 o'clock in the morning. At 6:50, the pump starts recirculating the reservoir for 10 minutes, and then for 40 seconds, the other solenoids kick on and it starts feeding. And then at 8:30, it just mixes the reservoir again. And then at 9:50, it starts mixing it, and then it feeds for 40 seconds. This cycle continues throughout the day until 4 hours before the lights go off. At 7:30, they get their last feeding, and that's it. Or excuse me, at 7, they get their last feeding. And then the reservoir mixes a couple times throughout the night, and that's it. So now going over to the solenoids, it'll kind of start to make more sense. Solenoid B1 and B2 on the top left, those are my two feeding solenoids for the two tables. Those are set up exactly the same. At 7 o'clock, like I said, an hour after the lights come on, it opens up for 40 seconds, which is basically the equivalent of about 130 to 140 mLs. And then every 3 hours, it feeds for 40 seconds. 7 o'clock, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and then 7 p.m. That allows the plants to start drying back before the lights turn off so that they transpire properly throughout the night. So B2 is set up exactly the same, except for this one I didn't change, so let me go ahead and fix that. And this one we need to move down to 40 seconds as well. See? It's good I came in here to show you guys. Double checking my own work right now. So 7, 10. See, and this one needs to be fixed too. So it's going to go to 1. This is even better than what I was going to do, what I was showing you. This works out so much better. Now you're getting to see it in real time. 4 and 7. Boom. Now you can see all the feed times are set up properly. All for 40 seconds, 7, 10, 1, 4, 7. Go back and confirm it's the same. 7, 10, 1, 4, 7, all for 40 seconds. Good to go. So those are the two feeds. Now B4, that's going back into the nutrient reservoir, and B5 is pulling from the nutrient reservoir. B3 and B6 is my RO reservoir setup. All right, so going into B4, this is every time that the reservoir is recirculating itself. So that's 10 minutes before every feed cycle, as well as in between those times and throughout the night. So at 6:50, boom, it's recirculating. So B4 is on, recirculating. And then after that closes at 7 o'clock, it'll close. That's when B1 and B2 open, and now the pump is still running for 40 seconds while those are open and they feed the trays. So this is just mixing up, and you can see those times going throughout there. B5 is the supply from the nutrient reservoir. So every time that the pump turns on, it needs to be pulling from this nutrient reservoir. So this basically mimics the pump setup exactly. So that's that. And then basically what I'm doing is I'm feeding the recommended 4 to 6% of the total volume of the cube, which is, puts me between 120 to 180 mLs usually, right? It stays the same, but I change my feeding times based on what I'm seeing in the graphs. So in my moisture right now, I'm at 31%. By the next irrigation, I will have dropped down into the 20s, and then the irrigation will put me back up into the 30s, hopefully. By the end of the day, we should end up somewhere around the 40s, and then dry back overnight into the low 20s, and then come back up the following day doing the same thing. As the block dries down, our EC goes up in the cube because it's becoming more concentrated. Less water, more concentrated salts, right? So when we start irrigating, the first time after the lights come on, you're starting to flush out that buildup. So by the time you hit peak middle of the day, you want to already have 2, maybe 3 irrigation events and have caused some amount of runoff so that the plants aren't getting old buildup, they're getting fresh newts 100%. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So you can kind of see this little stair-stepper graph right here. That's 24 hours. This is 1 week. You can see how it goes up and down, right? Starts over, up and down. And then here's 1 month, right? So you can see when I first saturated the cubes, way back when. And then now I've just been on this constant up and down tick, up and down tick, up and down tick. Staying between 20 to 40% right now. So I'll monitor this graph closely and all of my other parameters and use those things to adjust my irrigation times, right? When they get irrigated, as well as how long they get irrigated for. So that's that. I hope you guys found that useful. I'll catch you guys later.